Blog Talk Radio. Blog Talk Radio.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 5 years we've been asking the franchipreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, and I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and we have a great show today. We're meeting with Bob Watson, CEO of Five and Diner. And Five and Diner is an honest-to-goodness, 50-style family dining restaurant concept with an aggressive franchise growth plan to bring back the roadside diner experience across the United States. And that's coming right up on Franchise Interviews. So stick around because we got a great show.
Are you one of those special people who are willing to go after your dreams and goals? Are you ready to fulfill that dream of owning your own business with the security of a proven brand? The opportunity to take control of your future and own a Rita's Italian Ice franchise is within your reach.
Rita's is seeking success-oriented individuals who are ready to make a change in their life, and Rita's offers unparalleled training and support to assure your success. And did you know the frozen treat industry is a recession-proof industry, and there are Rita's in 23 states currently with 540 stores open. Rita's Italian Ice has been around for 25 years and is listed as a top-performing franchise by the Wall Street Journal.
Now here's the really good part. Rita's Italian Ice is a unique and amazing taste treat. It's smoother than a snow cone, and it combines ice with real fresh fruit. The real fruit adds dramatically to the taste, and it comes in over 40 flavors. The ice and fruit are mixed on site and made fresh daily, and it is delicious.
You'll want to know more about this exciting and successful franchise opportunity. Go to www.ownaritas.com and get all your questions answered. That's www.ownaritas.com to take control of your dreams and future today. You don't want to wait any longer to be a part of this adventure. www.ownaritas.com.
Franchisers, are you looking to reach aspiring entrepreneurs looking to buy a franchise? Are you looking to reach a highly educated audience on franchising? For over 4 years, Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get inside tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising. Check out our weekly franchise radio show, where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys, and our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. Get 3 months of free advertising when you sign up for our 1-year package. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919. That's 610-905-2919.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 5 years we've been asking the franchipreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, and I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and we have a great show today. We're meeting with Bob Watson, CEO of Five and Diner. And Five and Diner is an honest-to-goodness, 50-style family dining restaurant concept with an aggressive franchise growth plan to bring back the roadside diner experience across the United States. Hey, Bob, how you doing today? Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Marty. Thanks very much for having me on.
Oh, it's our pleasure, Bob. Thank you for coming on. Bob, my wife actually wanted the first question. She wanted to know when you're coming to Easton, Pennsylvania. I guess you get that a lot, don't you? When you come into our town. Oops. Sorry, I think I lost you for a second. There you go. You're back. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Sorry. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you great now. Yeah. My wife wanted the first question. She wanted to know when you guys are coming to Eastern Pennsylvania. We're on the website this morning, and I guess you get that a lot, don't you, when you come into our town?
You know, we do get that a lot, and we're looking forward to coming to a lot of towns. As you know, we recently have relaunched the diner, and we're looking forward to entering a bunch of neighborhoods in the near future.
That's fantastic. I know you have an interesting background, Bob. What were you doing before, becoming a franchisee and then a franchisor for Five and Diner? It's a great story.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Laurie and I have, Marty, been in the food business for about 25 years now, and we own some catering companies. We also do a lot of employee cafeterias and corporate dining. And we also own an event company up here in Massachusetts, a tent, table, chair, china company. So we've had a long background in the food service business.
That's fantastic, which is really so important. You know, Don and I frequently mention on the show, to look towards like the founder's experience, How do you describe then the history of Five and Diner to, I guess you could say, prospective franchisees, Bob?
Well, Five and Diner was begun about 17 years ago in the Phoenix market, actually, and Phoenix has been a great hub of the diners, and we actually have 7 locations out there, plus our company flagship store, which is also located on 16th Street in Phoenix. And it was begun as a single standalone diner, which is kind of common with diners in the history of America. And then it caught on in such a way that the original owner, who's a gentleman by the name of Ken Higginbotham, he decided to start selling franchises, and he started in the Phoenix market. And then over time, it has evolved into some other markets. For example, we have a great one right off of Route 66 in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Wow.
Yeah, we have one in Idaho. We have another one in Worcester, Mass., which, of course, we own. We're up here in Massachusetts.
Right,
and we also have one in Orlando, Florida. So it's begun to spread its wings a little bit, and we're looking forward to continuing that expansion.
That's fantastic. So what does Five and Diner fit into? Like, where do you guys fit into the restaurant industry right now, and what kind of, makes you guys unique? I guess you get that question a lot. Yeah,
and actually my answer is that we don't really fit easily in any category, which sort of makes us unique. Yeah. We are, in fact, what you one of your opening introductions said. We are, in fact, way back in time, 50s, 60s kind of concept, back in the simpler times. Lots of good comfort food, made fresh, made with love. A lot of great staff who really enjoy being in the diners and working in the diners. And as you approach one of our diners, you're listening to music from the 50s and the 60s, and you walk inside and everybody's dressed like they're from the 50s and the 60s, and it's just a great family environment.
That's great. It's an experience, isn't it? It's not just about the food. It's the experience in itself as well.
It really is an experience, and a lot of the feedback that we get from customers is that it reminds them very much of a place where people go and can really sort of take a deep breath and just sort of relax and enjoy themselves.
Yeah, which is so important in today's world, isn't it? It's with getting away from the rush from everything. So what's been the most interesting that's happened to you since, becoming, part of this whole experience, Bob? Anything stand out? I'm sure there's a lot of different stories.
So there's a lot of things that happen at Five and Diner that sort of make me feel good, but let me give you, if I could, just one example. On January 7th of this year, we rented out the Firebird Speedway in Phoenix, Arizona.
Wow.
We rented out the entire dragway, and we held a Rockabilly Bash. Now, I guess there was a Rockabilly Bash of another type in Las Vegas last year.
Right.
We decided to try to market the diners in a rather unique way, so we rented out the drag strip. We wound up having a car show, a Miss Five and Diner beauty pageant, a battle of the bands, drag races, and food. And we wound up seeing on one day more than 2,000 people at the Speedway. Because the people who come to the diners are incredibly loyal customers. They really are.
Right. Yeah.
You can walk into our diner, Marty, on 16th Street in Phoenix, and you can see servers who work for us who are dressed exactly like Elvis Presley.
That's fantastic.
And And in fact, when you said in your introduction, we're going to interview Bob Watson, the CEO of Five and Diner, my name actually is the Fonz.
There you go. Everyone wants to be the Fonz, don't they?
Yeah. In the diners, all of the servers and all of the cooks have names that are different than their own. Oh, wow. And so I was given by the staff the name of the Fonz. So when I'm in the diners, I wear my Fonz button, and it's really sort of a cool and neat place. Yeah. We don't serve alcohol. We are, in fact, a family restaurant. We serve breakfast all day. The big seller is Cadillac meatloaf smothered in onion rings and gravy.
Oh, my God.
It's a real sort of cool, different experience.
Oh, it's amazing. So what types of characteristics will you look for in your franchisee, Bob? I mean, will they have to have experience in the industry, or are you looking for certain types of interpersonal skills?
The principal thing that we look for, Marty, is passion. Mm-hmm. If you love a diner, you're more than 50% home. If you really, truly love a diner, we think we can work with you on the rest. Sure, it'd be great if you've had some experience in the food business, similar to what Laurie and I have had. But the truth of the matter is, if you have a real passion for diners and you have a passion for quality and taking care of people, we've got 2 training facilities, one in Phoenix and one in Worcester, Mass., where we can bring you in and we can put you out back in the kitchen, and then we can put you out front on the line, and we can show you the cleanliness standards we seek, and we can kind of work with you to make sure that you're comfortable with what you're doing. But if you've got a passion for diners and a passion for old cars and a passion for sort of simpler times, we can fix the rest, so to speak.
Which is a pretty big market. You know, it's interesting what you say, Bob, is, you know, the passion for diners. You know, my wife and I, we love going to diners, and there's one that we usually frequently go to. But you do typically notice, like, there's that repeat sale factor, you know, is you get a lot of people coming on the same day or same time, you know, and that, I think that repeat sale is probably, I suspect, a big part of your business as well, getting the customer to come back, you know, and I don't know how often they come back, but it's great.
Yeah, it certainly is a big factor, and I'm sure I don't have to tell you because you've got this great show. There's a lot of great franchises in the United States, and there's not a lot of room for people who are not going to do a good job, who aren't going to provide a good quality, who aren't going to be committed to their profession. And a quick story, Marty, we owned a second diner in Arizona, and we're not really in the ownership business. We like to have franchisees. Right. So we actually sold the diner for $1 to a server.
Wow.
To a woman who worked for us for 10 years. Her and her son and her daughter work in the diner. She's been a great franchise owner. She's done a terrific job. So we're looking for people who have passion. And when we find them, it's sort of like you and your wife, Marty. When you go into a diner, you have a good, comfortable experience.
Right.
And that's the kind of people we think would make the best franchise owners. The people who are committed and have a passion for diners.
That's terrific. It's a great story. So what's the training like then for the new franchisees, Bob? How does that work? Do they fly out to like a headquarters or?
Yeah, as I said, Marty, we have 2 spots. We have the original diner, which is located on 16th Street in downtown Phoenix, Arizona. The diner is open 24 hours a day and is open every day of the year except Christmas. We will literally take you from one end of the diner to the other. You will learn every single aspect of the business, from the bussing of tables, the waiting on tables, the cleaning of men's room and ladies' rooms, the working in the kitchen, the production of the food, the preparation and the ordering of the food. We have a complete and total package that we literally, Marty, feel comfortable that in a few months we could take an auto mechanic and turn him into a Five and Diner, compassion, dedicated franchise owner.
Wow,
it's a complete and total package.
That's fantastic. So how would you describe a typical day then, Bob, for a franchisee, if there is such a thing, I guess you can say? I'm sure, you know, Mondays are different from Saturdays. And
Well, it's still I would make an assumption that if you and your wife are going to diners, the vast majority of the time you're going for either breakfast or dinner.
You're right.
So breakfast is a busy time in almost every diner we have.
Right.
And it's particularly busy on the weekends.
Yes.
Families are home, fathers are home from work, mothers are home from work, they're with their kids. So breakfast on Saturday and Sunday turns out to be a hectic period of time in most diners that we have. So a typical day is we serve breakfast all day in our diner. That's one of the things we're known for. So a franchise owner is getting in. Most of them are open by 6 a.m., some by 7 a.m., and as I say, some are open 24 hours a day. So a franchise owner is getting in, and he's making sure his house is in order for the day. He's got the appropriate amount of product in-house. Deliveries have been made. Fresh breads are there. Place is clean. Staff have shown up. And then you literally open the doors, and those repeat Five and Diner customers start coming in and sitting at the counter where they can look through the window, the porthole, and watch their food being prepared, or they sit at a booth and start putting money in the jukeboxes so they can listen to their favorite music.
That's fantastic. One of the questions I was excited to ask you, is because you have experience, you're unique in the sense of you're a franchisee, franchisor, which is kind of a unique scenario. What advice would you give to our listeners in their quest for buying a franchise, Bob? What would you say to them?
Well, I would tell you that, first of all, we are, as a franchisor, we're out there at all the trade shows, and we're trying to market and sell our franchises. Mm-hmm. When we first bought our franchise, which is what we did before we bought the entire franchise, we looked at a bunch of concepts, which everybody has the ability to do. As you know, there's a lot of information available on all the great franchisors in America.
Right.
And we evaluated the kind of thing that we felt would most interest us. I am a bit of a car guy. I have some old-time cars myself. Mm-hmm. I grew up in diners here in Massachusetts. There's still a bunch of them. In fact, there was just a great book written by a gentleman here from Massachusetts named Larry Caltera, who just redid the history of Massachusetts diners, and the book was released in the last couple of months. It's a great book. And surprisingly, there's still an awful lot of diners all over America, and there's a bunch of them in Massachusetts, some of which I've never seen. So as I've read the book, I'm looking forward to visiting them. So what I would say to a prospective franchise owner is we have a really family-oriented, happy, comfortable environment where you can get good quality food, which is freshly made. All you got to do to take the step is determine what makes the most sense for you and your family and your future, and then sort of give us a call and put your trust in us, and I will guarantee you that we'll see it to the end in a way that will be productive and you'll be comfortable.
Wow, that's well said. How has technology played a role with Five and Diner, Bob? Is it big technology, low technology? How would you describe that?
Well, technology appears to be taking over most of our lives. So I will tell you that the cash register system that we use is a micro system, and it's a what they tell me is a smart system. So sales are recorded and reported daily. Almost every one of the diners, Marty, has a laptop computer, and they send and receive emails. We also have a fully developed intranet so that we exchange things like cleaning products and specials and monthly limited time offerings and that kind of thing we're able to do over the internet, which is helpful because it's instant for our franchise owners. And we also we take a lot of advice from existing franchise owners, Marty. They'll come across a cleaning product which they think is more beneficial, so we trade ideas, and it's sort of a forum. Now, our franchise owners meet, particularly out in the Arizona area, on a regular basis to do group marketing and that kind of stuff. But I wouldn't say that we're as technologically advanced as, for example, an Apple store, but everybody's got a phone, everybody's got a laptop, and we do have a smart system of cash registers.
Yeah, and I think that information becomes very powerful over time, and like you're saying, Bob, the sharing of best practices with your franchisees. It's one of the things I've always liked about, let's say the smaller, medium-sized franchise systems, but I think where the franchisee really has a chance to make an impact in the franchise system, where they can have the opportunity to talk to someone like you on the phone, whereas with some of the bigger systems, whether it's a McDonald's or a Subway, to try to get the CEO on the phone is really quite difficult. In fact, sometimes impossible from what I understand anyway, So I think it's another great selling point.
Yeah, in my case, Marty, my phone's in my pocket all the time, and I talk to franchise owners all the time, and couldn't be more. In fact, I'm going to Arizona next week. I couldn't be more pleased to do that. And I will also tell you that some great marketing ideas for Five and Diner have actually come from the franchise owners back up to the corporate headquarters. One example, we have a very successful franchise owner out in Arizona whose father-in-law was a franchise owner for McDonald's.
Really?
And this franchisee began to work, Marty, with the local schools out around his diner in Arizona. He began to promote programs where kids would receive rewards for good grades and good tests from the school, and that reward included their ability to go to the diner and have a free meal. And so the young child would come to the diner for their free meal, and who would they bring with them but, of course, their parents.
Of course.
And so we began to introduce, this franchise owner began to introduce a lot more people to Five and Diner by being involved in his community and being involved in his local schools. We also have a national charity that we support through Five and Diner, which is called Save the Children, which I'm sure you've heard about. It's headquartered out of Washington.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to keep involved in our community and the affairs of the community. But there's an example of how a franchise owner was able to help his own business and then help us corporately like that.
Wow, that's so important. So what's in the future, Bob? I mean, like, where do you see yourselves maybe like 3 to 5 years down the road with Five and Diner?
That's a great question, Marty. And when we currently have 15 stores. 5 years down the line, I'd like to have 50 stores. We have spent a lot of time redesigning and relaunching the concept instead of just being a standalone concept now, and I'm sure you know what I mean by that. It's a standalone building. Mm-hmm. We also have developed an inline concept now where a Five and Diner could be located in a shopping center in line with a group of other stores. We were at our first public show in Las Vegas in November, and some of our folks are going back to Las Vegas for the multi-franchise show, which is coming up, I believe, in April. So we've done a lot of public relations in the last couple of months, as you probably are aware, and so we're looking forward to, we're talking to a lot of prospective franchise owners right now. We do have our own full-time franchise salesman now. And we're beginning to put now that the economy's a little bit on our side, we've begun to put out a lot more feelers to begin to grow this business. So I would love to see us beginning to roll out 2, 3, and 5 franchises a year from this point on.
Yeah, and I think that it's a great plan in the sense of, not getting too big too fast. Where we've seen some franchise systems in the past, Don and I, doing the show the last 5 years, I think some of them have gotten too big too fast, and so Eric, run into problems. I remember I was watching the Wendy's documentary it's a couple weeks ago, and Wendy's had that problem in the beginning where they got too big too fast, and things got out of control. So I think that's a great plan, Bob, as far as controlled growth. It sounds like.
Yeah, we don't ever want to be so big, Marty, that you can't get a Cadillac meatloaf you can love. In other words, if we begin to compromise quality, or we begin to feel customers aren't feeling as welcome as they should, I would suggest to you that we haven't done our job. So we're not. This is not. I almost hate to say this. It's not just about money. It's really about trying to expand the passion. We live in a complicated society. There's no question about that. When you go into a diner, we truly, Laurie and I talk about this all the time, we can go to visit a franchise diner, and I feel very comfortable to tell you that I can see the smiles of people's faces around me, and I know people are there, at least for that period of time that they're in the diner, they're feeling comfortable and they're feeling welcome. I don't ever want to grow to the point where we lose that. I think it's critically important to our success. And I also wouldn't like to see a franchise owner who loses the passion, because once they lose the passion, they're not going to have as much fun. And once they don't have as much fun, they're not going to pay attention, and customers are going to be hurt.
Yeah, well said. Absolutely. So what's the best way for our listeners to get more information on becoming a franchisee, Bob? Is there any websites they should specifically go to, any numbers they should call?
Well, we have a website, fiveanddiner.com. Yes, we're out there. We actually have a franchise website, and we also have a franchisor website. So, there's lots of readily available information about Five and Diner. It's on the Internet, and you also can you can contact me directly, and I can give you what you need. Also, we've got a whole staff here in the corporate office who can help, but I'm happy to give my cell phone number if you think that'd help.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, I can be reached anytime at 617-522-3098, and you just ask for the Fonz or the Big Bopper, and you'll see I'll answer the phone.
That's fantastic. It was a privilege to have you on this show, Bob. And again, we're going to be following you. And I know I'd like to already invite you guys back for towards the end of the year and watch as you guys continue to grow.
Marty, we'd love to come back, and also I'd love to sometime buy you and your wife breakfast or lunch. Laurie and I will buy you breakfast or lunch at a Five and Diner.
That'll be fantastic. Thanks so much, Bob. You have a great day today.
All right, Marty, you too. Thanks very much.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much. And we'll be right back with more franchise interviews.
Franchise Interviews. For over 4 years, Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get inside tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising. Check out our weekly franchise radio show, where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys. And don't forget to listen to our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919. That's 610-905-2919.
Need a business loan? Talk to Diamond Financial Services, the experts in franchise financing nationwide. Whether you're looking to start a franchise, acquire an existing franchise, or expand your territory through opening new locations, Diamond Financial stands by your side start to finish. From pre-qualification to packaging and presenting your application to securing a financial commitment, and through the loan closing process, Diamond Financial is there. While you're waiting, thousands of others are making their financial dreams come true. Don't wait any longer. Pre-qualify now by completing a confidential, no-obligation financial analysis. Let's face it, traditional banks just aren't in the business of financing small business. At Diamond Financial, we specialize in securing franchise loans from $100,000 to $3 million and equipment leasing up to $150,000. Let us help you get started. Go to www.franchisefunding.net or call 877-508-2274. That's franchisefunding.net, 877-508-2274.
I really want to go back to asking some questions about the franchising. We have a lot of people here who are very interested in talking about franchising. And so I have Don Johnson, who's the VP of Franchise Interviews in the New Jersey office, on the line. Don?
Hi, Lynn. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Fantastic. I know that you have over 20 years of broad-ranging experience in financial services.
Right, in business ownership experience, right. So I got started kind of early in life at 27, just to kind of, I guess, age myself there. But, yeah, I've been helping people a long time and in business lending a long time, and we really have a niche and specialty in the franchising industry.
So what should every business owner be mindful about in regards to their cash flow?
Well, just make sure to put themselves in best position to get additional credit or a loan. Just make sure you continue to be profitable, even if you have to obviously cut down on your overhead. They know their business best as far as if they can, diversify and go into some new markets. We help a lot of business owners to diversify by maybe adding some type of franchise business to their company, and maybe have another income stream to help their bottom line to, maybe they're in an industry that is just maybe still going to be tough for a couple of years. They might have to consider diversifying, but, just maintain that your business credit still is in good shape, and obviously also your personal credit score. Because if you've had a good amount of time in business, but maybe you've come across a tough year or two, that can still be looked at in the long run, good to a lender, because most lenders know we've been in the toughest economic climate in decades, and everybody's going through a tough time. But just make sure your business and personal credit are fine. You still find a way to be profitable, and just look for other ways to diversify the business.
And you were saying there are still aggressive lenders out there. Right,
especially on acquisitions or profitable businesses that want to refinance or expand. Just people who've had a good work history, who maybe were downsized, they're out of work, and they're looking at their options, and they want to start up a business or a franchise. That's what we can speak to them about, go over their options. We have good low investment and franchises all the way up to several $100,000, but we can help them find what a franchise consultant does is make people look at themselves and answer certain questions. We want to get their background and their interests, and we'll match them to a few franchises we think will be a good fit. Just if somebody maybe has to go that way, we're seeing a big revolution in people now going into business.
This is so true, because so many of them are losing their jobs, and that job safety is not an issue anymore, and they're more willing to go into business for themselves if they're going to work 24 hours a day.
Right, it's really like forced entrepreneurship.
Yes, true. So let me ask you very quickly about acquisitions, because a lot of people don't understand that concept, Don. What do you mean when you say that?
Well, it's simply a business resale, a business for sale. When someone's out of work or downsized, they're gonna, hey, should I start up a business or a franchise, or should I buy an existing business? That's an acquisition or resale of an existing business for sale, where companies like us can help them pre-screen that business for sale. We review the business financials.
That's important.
And we'll compare to what the purchase price is. And, we're not business valuation specialists, although we can help them to point them in the right direction on that. But we know what business resales have a good chance for financing based on how long that business has been there for, how long profitable, how do the business financials look, how it's priced at. So that's another option, for your listeners, Lynn, if they're looking to buy an existing business. The advantage is that they'll be profitable right away. The business is cash flowing.
Yes.
Usually those are more expensive. A franchise startup, you have to make sure you have some reserve money to fall back on, because you might not be profitable for 6 months or a year or more. But franchising gets you to be profitable quicker. The failure rate's much lower as compared to a non-franchise startup. That's why I love the franchise industry so much, is the much lower failure rate on business ownership compared to non-franchises.
That's an important point.
Right.
That's a very important point. And I've known of people, the reason I was asking about acquisitions, I have known of people who literally have gone in and bought businesses from families who basically they wanted to retire. They're tired of it. Right. But they've been in the same community, serving that community for a very long time. Everyone knows them, and they're very profitable. They just want a break.
Right. Yeah, this is a good time to be getting into buying a business or a franchise. People starting up a franchise, having to lease space. There's all kinds of great deals from landlords and tenant improvement money back to the owner for renting space, and lease costs are down. It's a very good time to get a business loan. These are the lowest rates in several years. And there's just all kinds of, because of the economy and different suppliers and vendors going through rough times, there's some of your biggest and well-known companies, Lynn, have started up during a recession or tough times, but there are some good things going on. Maybe that business who's retiring and they want to sell and they realize times are tough, well, they might price it a little more aggressively.
That's very true. So, Don, if someone wants to get in touch with you, we already know that they're going to be listening to franchise interviews on Blog Talk Radio.
Yes.
And if they want to get in touch with you and have you do a nice evaluation of their situation to find out whether they really could obtain funding to franchise.